yetu Amitapendwa ya vintu ifisume vyoza kula kuibukisha Kana depotimo Wimbo watemenu wakatongi Abazunga batita katongi Nakula kuibukisha kateka Kaibukubuna kapona Neseko siove pamenso Yangu ama umebaya Iyaba Iyaba ume Iyaba ume
Kateka wa bantu Twakulira lelo twakulira Shika kukonke milimo shove
Eti kume mokulo dolole avale lilo wingi
Iseko wingi mwakwete Iseso wingi mwakwete Mwaya Mwende wino tata wesu
Katusi muchi mokege Wali bomba kale Lomba mwatu jatule lilake Ukula bebyo watu dobuingi Ibisebo wapangiri obuingi Ukuchinjo lusako kumoneko busaka Mama Uzituwa na basiani Chagwa katuse yangu buseninda na ngula chilo Oje bose tulive na kuya lelo tevyo bayetu Amitapendwa ya vintu ifisume vyoza kula kuibukisha Kana depotimo Wimbo watemenu wakatongi Abazunga batita katongi Nakula kuibukisha kateka Kaibukubuna kapona Neseko siove pamenso Yangu ama umebaya Iyaba Iyaba ume Iyaba ume
Kateka wa bantu Twakulira lelo twakulira Shika kukonke milimo shove
Eti kume mokulo dolole avale lilo wingi
Iseko wingi mwakwete Iseso wingi mwakwete Mwaya Mwende wino tata wesu
Katusi muchi mokege Wali bomba kale Lomba mwatu jatule lilake wapangile obwingi okuchinja oluzago kumoneko busaka mama muzituwala basiyani Chagwa katuse yangu busenindala nangula chilo oke boze tulive na kuyalelo devyo bayepi amitapendwa ya vintu ifisume vyotwa kula kwibukisha kana depochimo wimbo watemenwa katongi abazunga batita katongi nakula kwibukisha kateka aibukubuna kapona neseko syove pamenso yangwa maume baya iyaba maume iyaba maume
kateka wabantu twakulira lelo twakulira shikakukonke milimo shove Eti kume mokula ndolola vale lilo wingi
iseko wingi mwakwete isaso wingi mwakwete mwaya mwende wino tata wesu
katusi muchibo kege wali bomba kale lomba mwatu jatuleli lake wapangile obwingi okuchinja oluzago kumoneko busaka mama muzituwala basiyani Chagwa katuse yangu busenindala nangula chilo oke boze tulive na kuyalelo devyo bayepi amitapendwa ya vintu ifisume vyotwa kula kwibukisha kana depochimo wimbo watemenwa katongi abazunga batita katongi nakula kwibukisha kateka aibukubuna kapona neseko syove pamenso yangwa maume baya iyaba maume iyaba maume
kateka wabantu twakulira lelo twakulira shikakukonke milimo shove
Eti kume mokula ndolola vale lilo wingi iseko wingi devyo bayete
Seko wengi mwakwete Isaso wengi mwakwete Mwaya, mwaya Mwende wino tata wesu
Katushi muchibokege Oh oh Wali bomba kale Komba mwatuja tuleli laki Mupanga chiba
Penda Upanga mwine Moya mwine Ine lalila Lalila Lalila
Yangu ya mama Ala nacho mwabye Mama Chagwa katuse
Good day, and it's been 10 days since we lost Zambia's 6th president, the only surviving head of state that our country had. On the day of 5th June, the cold hand of death took away our former head of state at Mediclinic Mediforum in Pretoria in South Africa. 10 days later, the remains of the late president have not been repatriated. The widow, the former First Lady Mama Esther Lungu, is still in South Africa, and the period of national mourning, the 10 days period of national mourning, has come to an end. So we thought we could give insights to what is happening and what's going to happen in the next few days. Let me start this broadcast by extending my sincere condolences to the family of Mr. John Karabasis. Mr. John Karabasis is a renowned Lusaka businessman, and you know, if you loved your suits, shoes and ties for men, he had a shop at Kablonga near Stanchart, I think for over 15 years, besides his other businesses. So I learned with deep sadness that Mr. John Karabasis just collapsed and later died at a private hospital in Lusaka. So our sincere condolences to the family of Mr. John Karabasis. He was such a cheerful, wonderful, friendly man, and is such a loss to the business community in Zambia. He's one of those that has endured the turbulences of medium enterprises in our country, and you know, may his soul rest in eternal peace. As I pass my regards to my condolences and wishes to the family of the Karabasis. We should not be where we are. The matters regarding the crisis of the late president should have been amicably settled. We should have mourned him in dignity, and you know, by the end of the national mourning period, would have been coming out of the deep grief that has affected the country. That is not so far, and this is a matter we wish to explore. We wish to announce, I wish to state first by starting with a family concern, and this is the matter in the works. a newspaper, online newspaper called Kalemba, one of the most credible online papers until we have concerns recently, issued a statement yesterday in which they purported that the family stated that the remains of the late president will not be transferred, or they will not give okay to the remains to be repatriated to Zambia until the criminal and civil cases and proceedings against the First Lady, Honorable Tasila Lungu'S, Dalis Ochiesu and others, that until those are dropped, there was even an allegation that, including the people in prison, that they should be released. This was utter falsehood. At no time has this matter ever come up. The delegation of the state can confirm to you, from day one, they've had a draft program of how to repatriate the remains of the late president, starting from the morgue, from the undertaker, who takes the remains, the South African authorities, is it the Zambian authorities, or is it the undertaker who delivers them? Where will the honors, because we understand the South African government wanted to give him honors, where will these honors be done? At the airport. When the remains of the late president arrive in Zambia, where should they go? Who should be the main celebrant at the funeral? Where should the body lie instead? These have been the core issues of the discussion. At no time whatsoever did the issue of civil and criminal cases that that the family and family members are suffering come up as a condition. At the beginning, the emotions were very high. The president has not been treated well. He had a condition that required that at least he sees his doctors every once in 6 months. That was not done since 2022. And the family was genuinely grieved. And it wasn't blaming anyone, but they were just saying, look, we tried for the head of state, former head of state, to receive treatment that he has been receiving since 2015. You refused. We've been here 6 months. You have not taken concerns, even sent anyone to come and see the welfare of the late president. So you can't come here in one day and command and direct and order. That was the beginning of the issues. The president sent the Minister of Foreign Affairs, Mulambo Haimbe, who just came purposefully just to pick the body and return to Lusaka so that the nation could start the period of national mourning. And the impasse arose. They said, no, we have concerns. We have made our own preparations. Remember that one of the well-wishers has accorded respect to the late president by according him transport that he'll be flown to Zambia by this well-wisher, and we've accepted that good gesture from this well-wisher. And there were other matters of where the body should lie instead of Maina Soko. The family has insisted that the body should lie at the residence of the late president, and that the body should go to Petauke and the Copper Belt. The president was born on the Copper Belt. There have been a community of churches that have been praying with him, and the body should also go to Petauke, where he comes from. These have been the core issues of discussion the entire time. There were concerns around, for example, the emissaries, special emissaries that the president had appointed to come and discuss with the family. There have been those issues, but essentially at the core of the entire debate and impasse are these issues. So to scandalize the family with these allegations, I think this was deliberate, very, very deliberate, to alienate them from the feelings of Zambians who have offered so much sympathy, who have mourned with the family, sincerely mourned with the family. I think that was an attempt to show that they are selfish, that they are just looking about their welfare. It's not about the president, and that they're trying to use the remains of the late president to further their own private interest. This was utter falsehood. So the family got in touch with the primary newspaper that ran this Kalemba. And just before I came online, I called Salim. Salim Dehu is a wonderful journalist. He began his career as a photojournalist at the Post newspaper. He's got a lot of strength, especially in court reporting and technical matters like this. So for Kalemba to carry such a malicious story, I called him and informed him about the concerns of the family. He informed me that the family should do a write-up and they'll carry it in full to explain this. He claims that that this story was given by some high sources. I was trying to put it to him that usually in this war there's propaganda. So sometimes the others, remember the president had been absent for 7 days, and from the public scene while the nation was mourning. There was no direction, there was no guidance other than the declaration of the date and period of national mourning. He had been absent and he received flack, from Zambians and from critics and from political parties and civil society. And the president, did a wonderful job, came and finally addressed the nation on these issues and finally met the special envoy from Zimbabwe, the first vice president, General Constantino Chiwenga, and also later visited Belvedere Lodge, where he signed a book of condolences. That was a good comeback. But I think his handlers decided to go dirty and raise these malicious attacks against the late president, against his family, and especially against the spokesperson, Honorable Makebi Zulu. I think this is to make them wary, to scandalize them, to weaken them. It's a dirty way and lack of respect for life. We cannot in one breath say we respect the late president, and in another we are using hand-to-hand methods to undermine him. So Salim says, Ambassador, I'll be glad to receive the note from yourself or from the family, and I'll publish it. So he said his sources were credible. That's what he says, and he says, please let me publish your side of the story. So thank you, Salim, but we've put it very clear that story was mere falsehood. Of course, it was lifted by Koswe, an online newspaper from State House. It could even have been the origin of such a story. That aside, today's update, we come back after this. I give you the current update and where we are going as in the next few days.
Pamitapendwa ya vintu ifisume vyotwa kula kwibukisha kana depotimo wimbo wa temenu wa katongi abazunga batita katongi na kula kwibukisha kateka kaibuku buna kapona neseko siove pameso yangwa maume maya kiyaba.
Yeah, thank you very much. Let's delve into these issues. The Secretary to Cabinet has announced just this evening that the arrangements, let me read out the statement that has been issued by Cabinet Office before I come to my own update. Secretary to the Cabinet, Patrick Chagwa, has advised the nation that he will update shortly on the ongoing funeral arrangements relating to the funeral of the late President, Dr. Edgar Chagwa Lungu, as the family and government consultative process has reached advanced stages. The Secretary to Cabinet has further called for calm and the arrangements are being finalized. Wonderful. You've seen how solid my sources are. I've written that State and the family have resumed the talks. The talks began today in earnest, and like the Secretary to Cabinet is confirming, progress has been made. Remarkable progress has been made regarding the repatriation of the remains of the late president and the matters surrounding the conditions from both parties. So I stated that Honorable Mlambe Haimbe was leading the delegation as Minister of Foreign Affairs. The Secretary to Cabinet is part of the delegation. The concession from the family, they've allowed, I need to repeat this, remember there were concerns around the special emissary. I think after broad consultation, they allowed Honorable Enoch Kavindele, because of the virtue of the office he occupied as Vice President, they allowed that he should sit in the meeting and that he's been appointed by the President in his own wisdom as Special Envoy. So was Leslie Mbula also. These, remember, were rejected at the beginning. But in the meeting today, they were allowed in the interest of progress, in the interest of the respect of the office of the President, who was then appointed these special emissaries. They were allowed. In their delegation, there was Senior Chief Mumbi from Petauke, who was literally the chief where President Edgar Lungu comes from. Then there was acting High Commissioner in South Africa. Remember, the President hasn't appointed yet the new High Commissioner. So there's an acting High Commissioner, acting High Commissioner Inonge Limbambala Mwenya. She was in that delegation. I think they've settled on the major matters. The body will lie in state. Progress has been made. They are now discussing the days. When does the remains of the late president arrive? Again, I think we'll be informed when they finalize on those particular details. Will the body go to Petauke and will the body go to Petauke and Ndola? Government has concerns there, political concerns. They feel that maybe the funeral will be politicized, but this is normal. President Mwanawasa was taken around the provinces. So was Dr. Kenneth David Kaunda, including taking back the body to his home area in Chinsali. So this is not a peculiar request. For the family, they only requested not the body to go to all the provinces, just 2 areas, where he was born in Kitwe and where a community of churches have been praying for him in Ndola Kitwe, and in Petauke, where he comes from. I think the next round of talks should resolve when does the body come? When does the body come? And when do we enter the late president? So my guy is doing something on the internet, on the computer. So essentially, those were the updates, is that the talks have resumed between the family and the state, and that remarkable progress has been made, and that we tulikumatero. What happens to the period and day of national mourning? Of course, the president will define and decide probably when the body finally arrives in the country, and the determination is made when we are burying the president according to the wishes of the family and to respect the wishes of the late president. Laz has issued a statement. Secretary to Cabinet is about to issue his statement. I'll come back with the letter of Laz, and we provide some insights and analysis on that.
Amitapendwa ya vintu ifisume vyoza kula kuibukisha kana depotimo wimbo wa temenu wa katongi abazunga batita katongi na kula kuibukisha kateka kaibuku muna kapona neseko siove pamenzo yamwa maume maya kiyaba maume ya maume
Twakulira, lelo twakulira Shika kukonke milimo shove
osile eti kumemo kulondolola vale lilo mwingi
iseko wingi mwakwete isaso wingi mwakwete mwaya mwende wino tata wesu
katusi muchi mokege wali bomba kale nomba mwatu katule lilake
The Law Association of Zambia has issued a statement in which essentially they are urging government that the family is critical in all these matters, but they also have words for the family, that the family must allow President Hakainde Hichilema to allow the state protocols and state honors that goes with the former president, and that President Hakainde Hichilema must be allowed to superintend over the funeral. I think Lars required more information. I think there's been an information gap here. That's a trouble sometimes when your cup of tea or your dart of information is one-sided. Lungu'S is a wonderful Lars president. I think he's consultative, he's mature. I've hosted him on the Conversation podcast, and I respect him, that a young man like him commands such respect from such a senior fraternity in our country with such immense responsibilities, and he has discharged his duties. You cannot fault him very, very well. But there was an information gap here. The family has never objected, never at any time objected to the president, the late president, receiving state honors and the state funeral. Never. What is out there is misinformation that they demanded a private funeral. They didn't demand a private funeral. They demanded private evacuation of the remains of the late president to Lusaka. Private evacuation of the remains of the late president doesn't mean that they wanted a private funeral. And the demands, for example, for the late president's remains to lie at the family home, to lie instead at the family home, doesn't constitute a private funeral. At no time, this is a misinformation we must clear very, very clearly. At no time did the family reject. At no time. Check all the statements. Even in my analysis, at no time did the family say they wanted a private funeral. At every turn, they said, we recognize he was head of state. We recognize he saved the country for 7 years. They recognized that he could be a father, a husband, grandfather to them, but they also recognize the responsibility he had in the nation as head of state. And therefore, as former head of state, they recognize that the state has an inescapable obligation to honor him. So, Laz's appeal that we should allow the president to in the process, I think is again a second misinterpretation. Remember when the demands were made clear by the family that President Hakainde Hichilema should not come near the remains of the late president. That didn't mean, I've seen a flurry of, again, statements born out of ignorance. The vice president even threatened that it would be treason for a state funeral to be held without the president. Are you sure? We've had many state funerals where the president doesn't participate. State funeral, just last week, the other week, there's a former ambassador to Japan, I think Joe Mwale, who also comes from Petauke, who died, and the president didn't even attend. He's an ambassador. He's not entitled to be former ambassador. He's not entitled to a state funeral. But people felt, because of his distinguished record in our country, that Joe Mwale probably must have been accorded an official funeral. Remember, there are categories of funerals. Official funeral, the state funeral, all these have categorization of the honors that you bring to the mourning period. Others are just allowed a day. Others just flags fly at half mast. Others just an official recognition, like President Edgar Lungu accorded an official funeral to Mama Regina Chiluba. She was an ordinary person. She was not former first lady. She was an ordinary person, but he accorded her an official funeral because she was a spouse to the late president. And, the military came, and that day there was a day of national mourning. And, when she was interred again. So there are these categories of funerals. So Joe Mwale, many people remember that when the police stormed the residence of Hakainde Hichilema, there is one person who stood against him, and that was Joe Mwale. So is sacrificed, one of those, liberation heroes, as they call themselves in the Upnd, but he wasn't. Coming to the main point, I've given an example of John McCain here in the United States, who was a senator, and his funeral, because he had such an illustrious career spanning decades, many heads of states were going to come to his funeral. But he issued a wish. I've got brain cancer. I've been given a few days to live, but at least I have my faculties intact. I want Donald Trump. This was in 2018. I want President Donald Trump not to come to my funeral. It didn't mean that Donald Trump, as head of state, refused to superintend over the funeral. He did. He accorded other heads of states to come. They saw him, they met him, but was nowhere near the funeral of Senator McCain. That is normal. However, remember what we've been saying about negotiations. Here we are today, as we are standing today. Honorable Enoch Kavindele and Honorable Leslie Mbula, the family has recognized that these are special envoys appointed by the president, recognizing the office of the president. Remember, the late president occupied that office. That office requires respect. Out of that respect, they said, we will respect not you who have been attacking our late president, but we will respect the appointing authority. So Honorable Leslie Mbula and Honorable Enoch Kavindele sat in the meeting. They deliberated, they participated. They brought their insight, their experience, and the reason they were there, other than the petty politics that they had been engaged in the past, were discarded. The focus was, how do we bring the remains of the late president back home? When do we put him to rest? And the issues of taking him to Petauke, to where, were discussed. And I think that's how it should be. So for me, I would like to congratulate both parties, the family and Honorable Mlambo Haimbe and his team. Both parties have done remarkable work for our country. They've recognized a big issue, which is Zambia is at stake here. Should this debate go any further, I think let's just mourn our late president with dignity and honor. Let us put him to rest. Maybe we can pick up the rest of the issues after that. And I think this is what has been happening. This was our update for today. let me go back to my song. Let me retrieve the statement by Laz because it needs some further insights. They've quoted Kaweche Kaunda's case. Remember, I've been talking about that case here. How Kaweche tried to respect the wishes of his late president, Dr. Kaunda, and that his wishes were that he should lie next to his dear wife of decades, Betty Kaunda. At the moment, the two lie separately. I was privileged to have handled the funeral, by the way, of Mama Betty Kaunda. I was PS Northern Province. I was engaged in dividing Northern and Muchinga. And, it took about 6 months before the president could appoint a permanent secretary and minister for Muchinga, as we were doing the alienation of Muchinga province from Northern Province, because the two were one. So when Mama Betty Kaunda died, previously in his memoirs and writings and wishes, President Kaunda always said he wanted to lie at in Chinsali, and he wanted the remains of himself and his wife to lie in Chinsali. So I was PS, and the President Michael Sata, called me and said, begin to prepare the preparations, burial ground and everything. Go that house, Shambalakale house, is a beautiful house built by the Yugoslavian. It lies at the hill. It's a very beautiful house. But over the last 40 years, it has gone derelict. He says, go and find out. Does the water work? Does electricity work? What is the state there? Just go and begin the process. So I immediately commandeered Roads Rural Unit that they should grade the road that goes to Shambalakale. ZESCO manager, provincial manager, I directed him, guys, we have work, let's go to Chinsali, and we went into Chinsali. A delegation from Lusaka led by Major Kamanga, who was permanent secretary at the time, came and joined us. He brought also, the works were under him as permanent secretary, and we began the work to prepare Mama Betty Kaunda to lie in Shambalakale in Chinsali. 2 days later, after all the works are done, we ensured that water was working, the borehole was properly fitted now, the electricity was back, the area, and the area we were waiting for the family to come and choose where President Mama Betty Kaunda could lie. There's a family graveyard at the church, if you've been to Chinsali, at Lubwa Mission, where Dr. Kaunda's parents and brothers lay. But Dr. Kaunda's wishes were that she should lie at Shambalakale Farm, at that beautiful, beautiful house in Chinsali. So that's where we're making preparations. But we're called that the family had persuaded that there have been issues. You remember when Dr. Kaunda retired, when he lost elections in 1991, he announced that he was going back to Shambalakale in Chinsali. But it was at the height of hostility. The MMD swept the entire country except Eastern Province. And even Chinsali, that's a revolutionary place. So there was some hostility to the family. So Dr. Kaunda didn't fulfill his long-held position to have built that beautiful house and retire there. So in the end, even after he retired, he didn't go to Chinsali. But one of his wishes in many of his interviews were that he should lie at Shambalakale. And unfortunately, the family decided that Mama Betty Kaunda should now lie at State Lodge, the new facilities where the president had been built a house as a result of former President's Benefits Act. That act of 1993 allows certain benefits and pension benefits to go to the family. So that's where Mama Betty Kaunda lay. So Kaweche's position was that the two have always sought to lie together. Remember, first in Shambalakale in Chinsali, and now Mama Betty Kaunda was buried at the farm in State Lodge. So Kaweche had a legitimate issue that my father's wish, he's made them public several times in many interviews. He wants to lie next to Betty Kaunda. Wherever Betty lies, if she lies in Chinsali or here at State Lodge, that's where he wants to lie. I think they must have promised each other, whoever dies first must ensure that that wish is honored. So I'll come back to discuss that particular matter which Lars has referred to, and let's now discuss what do we need to learn from this process, that we do not have these altercations, these differences. We should, all of us, just refer to the law. At the moment, there are no laws. What is there is just scattered here and there, seculars, traditions, precedents, no particular defined law to resolve issues like this when they arise. So, Kadonki has issued this song. You know, I've had a song from Peace Preachers that we've been playing, from others as well. But Kadonki issued this song, and I think it's appropriate. Just listen to it.
Yeah, yo, yo, yo. Yeah, nguvu senindala na ngurechilo. Oke boze tulive na kuyalelo devyo bayepi. Amitapendwa ya vintu ifisume vyoza bula kwibukisha. Anate pochimo wimbo wa temenu wa Kadonki. Abazunga batita Kadonki nagula kwibukisha kateka. Kaibugu muna kapona neseko siove pamenso. Yangu ama umebaya kiyaba ume. Kiyaba ume.
Kateka wabantu twakulira lelo twakulira shika kukonke milimo shove
Ale filamba fiena minta pengosile Deti kume moku londolo la vale Lilo wingi
Iseko wingi mwakwete Isaso wingi mwakwete Mwaya mwende wino tata wesu
Katusi muchi wakege Wali bomba kale Lomba mwatu jatuleli lake Upanga chiba
Penda Upanga mwine Oye mwine Ide lalila
Yangu ya mama ume Ala nacho mwabye Mama Bebele Bakataba Mwabasunde mubanga mwine Mama ya mama ume Oja bantu baraya nosipi Ya baba ume Ukuyo mutusheni bila papwe Mumenzo pwevo Ila yo bala ili ya baba ume Nangu tulalaba Oja tulibasila vifuemo Ingi tualaba badinotiwe Nangu tulalaba Uti tualaba badinotiwe Mama Ukula bevyo watu dobwingi Ibisebo wapagini wabwingi Ukuchinjo lusako kumoneko busaka Mama Utituwa basiyani Chagwa katuse.
Thank you very much for those that have joined us. Let me just do a recap. The talks have resumed between the state and the family to resolve the outstanding impasse. I started with the wishes of the family today, and I got in touch with Kalemba editor Salim Deo, a wonderful journalist remember him from the Post newspapers, and he set up Kalemba, and I put it to him that the story that they published was malicious and, was scandalizing the family, that the family had said that the body will not be allowed to be repatriated until the criminal and civil charges and proceedings against, the First Lady, Tarsila, Chiesu, and others are dropped. That was a total lie. And a total lie. And Salim got in touch, was gracious enough to pick my call, and he has said, Ambassador, tell the family if they've done a write-up, I'm willing to publish their side of the story. And I went to the actual talks today. Honorable Mlambo Haimbe is leading a powerful delegation as Minister of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation, leading a powerful delegation. Just a minute. My computer wants to restart. It to be disaster if it did. So I have to attend to that. So Honorable Mlambo Haimbe, the Minister of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation, is leading the delegation once again. He has beefed up the earlier delegation of Honorable Patrick Kangwa, Honorable Enoch Kavindele, Honorable Leslie Mbula, and there is in the delegation Chief Mumbi. Honorable Chief Mumbi has been there since Monday, and he came and said, look, I'm the chief for President Lungu, and I want the remains. So they said, kanavesa, in fact, mwe kanavesa mfiri mwa fumo komuli kuli ba government ababuteko mwaisa lubali kuno mwapiribuka mwasaba no lupwa, so that you then help us represent the wishes of, and the two I know were very close. When I was ambassador, when I was Zambia's High Commissioner to South Africa, Chief Mumbi had his son, who had a cardiac issue, evacuated to South Africa, and I met the chief because we were at the hospital bed for the young man for many months. I think that was 3 or 4 months. So, and but he was on the side of the delegation of government, and is the issue of Petauke, remember, rises because President Lungu comes from Petauke. So these are the government delegation, and they have made, I wish to report that they've made remarkable progress on almost all outstanding issues. There's been give and take. You want to go to the Copper Belt, you want to go to Petauke, Charlotta Chikene, the tensions are high. Why don't you consider that we just mourn him in Lusaka? You want him to lie in state? I think he can lie in state in Lusaka. So there are those, when do we repatriate the bodies? They are finalizing all those details, and will be undermining the talks if we go into particular nitty-gritty. But the good news is they are back on the table, both the family and the state, and are discussing this matter. And we hope that they come to an amicable solution, as President Akainde called it yesterday. Let me just refresh you with what he said to the first vice president of Zimbabwe, who was an emissary to Emmerson Mnangagwa. President Emmerson Mnangagwa has taken special interest in this matter. These two were together at the University of Zambia. That class, where there was a judge president, where there was Edgar Lungu and others in the law schools, either they were higher or lower, but they literally became family. So President Emmerson Mnangagwa is a good friend of many lawyers in Zambia because they were together in class. And, the relationship really warmed up between the two when President Lungu was president. And, they even jointly got PhDs, if you remember, honorary doctorates that were conferred upon them. So they are close. So he's just not acting as president of Zimbabwe. But this is a personal relationship that he has lost. So he sent Chiwenga, and the president gave us an insight, like we discussed yesterday. He gave us an insight of where we are going. He said the period of national mourning is coming to an end tomorrow, but that's not the end of it. We'll now invest in talking to the family. And he made it very clear the remains of the president will be buried in Zambia. And I congratulated him for showing that bold leadership. And I said, Mr. President, resolve this. The standards of Zambia are far higher. We resolve wars. We resolve conflicts. We end wars in the DRC, in Angola. We bring peace to the region. That's a level of Zambia's diplomatic, successes that it has scored. And the issue of two presidents, one predecessor and current, and the families involved and state responsibility cannot be a national crisis. We are now being reported in The Guardian in the UK, TRT Africa, and in India, everywhere else. Vane, this is a matter we should resolve quickly. And I'm glad that the president has sent this high delegation and the family has been very responsive. So we hope for the best. Now let's discuss, first let's hear the president, his remarks yesterday, just to refresh you, then we'll discuss the last later.
Of the barrier to honor this issue, let me return to the most important reason that brought you here. Thank you to President Mnangagwa for sending you here at short notice. I say short notice because we only got your notification through the ambassador, I think yesterday or yes, in the morning? Yes, around midnight, you see. So your notification came, I saw it this morning myself. And hours later you are here. So thank you to my brother president for sending you here, for offering your condolences on a very dark day for us, or dark period, because it's been 8 days now since our 6th president passed on. So thank you to the president. Thank you to you, Vice President General Chiwenga, for putting aside things that were already planned before the death occurred, and you are here. Please pass my message on behalf of the people of Zambia, 20 million Zambians, that we appreciate the president, the government, and the people of Zimbabwe's graciousness through the message of condolences. We also say so because we now have a situation where I'm the 7th president and 5 of them had gone. One went under my time, early on in my leadership. We've been in office now 3 years, 9 months. President Banda. Then we were only left with former President Lungu, only him. So he's now gone. It means we don't have a former president in our country. It's a situation that is really unfortunate. And for you to share this grief with us, we are very grateful. We don't take neighbors for granted, brotherly, sisterly countries for granted. So when this gesture is extended to us, it's only normal for us to say thank you and thank you very much. Please pass the message to President Mnangagwa. And we have been having challenges with the family as to agree burial rights. By now, they've already announced the program of the funeral. We do believe that we will be able to reach consensus. My approach, our government's approach, for me as head of state, is to focus on dialogue rather than conflict, to focus on positive dialogue, not to roll out the powers of the president all the time. So negotiating, agreeing with the family, listening to their concerns, their desires, has been something we decided to invest in and not to just push through things. So we apologize for the delay. By now you should have gone away with the program. So we believe we'll reach some conclusion with the family, amicable conclusion, and then we'll be able to communicate the funeral program to you, Zimbabwe through President Mnangagwa and yourself and the government and the people of Zimbabwe, our family members across the river. Where I was brought up, if you asked the description of Zambia and Zimbabwe, we use a term we call Zimzam. So that's how we define ourselves, Zimzam, meaning Zimbabwe, Zambia, Zamzim, whichever way. So please bear with us. Express that apology to the President that will be coming to you soon with the formalities of the burial to honor our sixth President, honor him properly by burying him decently in our country, not in any other country, but in our country, because he was our head of state. Vice President General Chiwenga, thank you very much once more. And I won't keep you too long. I'm sure you still have some government business to do today across the river. I guess it's 40 minutes. How many hours? How many minutes? 30 minutes. Yeah. Yeah. So.
Yeah, that was the president informing Honorable Chiwenga, assuring him that the president will be heavily invested in these talks with the family to ensure that the remains of the late president are repatriated to Zambia and that is accorded due recognition and respect and honor that is due to him. A friend of mine, I was just taking a private call here, says, Ambassador, you need a special request. Even you as a political party, this is away from the family. That's what he's suggesting. You have your leaders in prison. You know, Honorable Nixon Chilangwa, Honorable Ronald Stotela, Honorable Bowman Lusambo, who has even named his twins as Esther and Edgar. You have Maureen Mabonga Munia Zulu. Have you arranged, have you written to prison authorities and to the Minister of Home Affairs that at least they should attend, church, or at least be accorded an opportunity just to come and mourn, even for one afternoon or another? I think in the spirit of tolerance, promoting respect and unity as preached by the head of state, I will take up that matter and speak to the acting president, Honorable Given Luwinda. Maybe a letter can be given to the Minister of Home Affairs, Honorable Jack Mwimbo, and just in the spirit of unity. Remember, the president has been saying that both PF and UPND should mourn the president. And PF, unfortunately, includes the leaders that are incarcerated and have found themselves in these issues that we are not going to discuss currently. Whether they are legitimately in prison or not, that's a matter we'll discuss after the funeral. But that they deserve the honor to come and mourn. I agree with you. It's a matter I'll consider. Let's go to Laz. Laz has appealed to the family to allow President Hakainde Hichilema to superintend over the funeral. It has also requested the family to allow the president's declaration of a state funeral to be accorded to the late president. And Laz has also called on the need to enact new legislation that should guide and regulate state funerals. Because at the moment, they're just protocols. The law that we have that caters for former presidents, caters for former presidents who are alive, the welfare of presidents who are alive, and their pensions and benefits cease to exist as soon as they pass on, their offices are closed. It's not like here in the United States where libraries are open for living presidents. And I've seen Kenya. Kenya has put all the former presidents under the office of president. So the president is in charge of all former presidents, and they're actually even running websites and their activities. If they are remembering Daniel Arap Moi, their activities, and they are covered by their State House website. So all the presidencies, all the presidents in Kenya are all under the wing of the head of state. And if there is Uhuru Kenyatta as an activity, they are covering him under the issue that he was president. And then they are picking, something we should learn as Lars has proposed when we do the law. In the US, there's a library, and Kenya is trying to do the same. I've seen that they are picking successes and promotion of, and difficulties and challenges the other president, and picking out the old videos from the 60s, 70s, 80s, all the presidents that they've had. Something we can learn. These are national building projects. They help unite a country. They bridge the polarization that has emerged, the tribalism, regionalism, nepotism that has emerged. When we begin to promote our president as anchor of our wishes and trust, the president, including his former presidents, what they're doing in Kenya is something wonderful. So I agree with Lars on their recommendations. And again, I wish to correct Lars. The family has never objected to a state funeral. The family, we must emphasize, has never objected to a state funeral. Not saying they had requested the remains of the late president to be transported privately. That didn't amount to requesting for a private funeral. No, they had requested that the remains must be held, at the residence of the late president. I saw someone saying, no, the family is betraying the wishes of the late president. Those are just politics. Those are just politics. If the late president has proposed a celebrant, and that celebrant is honored to fulfill the wishes of the late president, both the state and the family must respect the late president's wishes. So for Lars, I think that's the only point I wish to correct. And Lars have been wonderful in the last 3.5 years. They are impartial. They've criticized the president, they've criticized the opposition, but they've been impartial. But I think that particular part came out of lack of information, because I've seen in many reports where they are repeating that President Lungu's family wished for a private funeral. No, they didn't. There were some private requests, like in any family. They are a key stakeholder to this funeral of the late president. Can you have your say? Is there any matter that I haven't handled so that we can encourage you? It's Saturday, you need to rest. You can make your contribution. The line is open. Let me hear from you. Let me just switch on this line because it was buzzing and ringing, so that you can then make the calls. So 10 days ago, we lost President Edgar Chagwa Lungu. He was our Zambia's 6th Republican president, and he was the only surviving president. We lost him to illness. He has been unwell, and he's been in South Africa receiving medical treatment for the last 6 months. The last public appearance he did was on 18th May, a few weeks ago, in which he had this extensive interview with Dr. Sishua. We wait for the insights. Dr. Sishua gave us some tidbits of what they discussed. And then Ambassador George Twa, who was South African Ambassador, High Commissioner to Zambia, who spoke at a requiem service that was held in Pretoria, gave us insights of that interview. Our President Lungu said, I wish I had listened to my critics. I thought Sishua means harm. Brebna Changala mean harm to our country. But I've come to love these men. They love our country. Sometimes presidents think that they're the ones that are in love of the country and they have a duty to protect the country. And Ambassador Twa said, you'll be shocked at citizens like the way President Lungu said, that you'll be shocked at citizens like Sishua and Brebna Changala, how they are committed to our country, how they sacrifice their time, their family time, and how they put themselves in harm's way just to speak for a better Zambia. And President Lungu in that interview said, I wish I'd listened more, not to my praise singers, but to my critics, probably, But that was like a takeaway thing from President Lungu after having been president. And he said, I can advise other presidents, pay more attention, not to those singing and clapping for you. Remember the crowd that was chanting, He's King, Jesus is King, and welcoming him in Jerusalem. Just the following week, we are crucifying him. Kill him, take him away. Be careful with the chanting praise singers. Because tomorrow, they'll be the ones saying, crucify him. And you'll be shocked. But these were the ones that were saying, I am the best president. And that was an insight from President Edgar Lungu. I think the line is open. Let's begin to hear from you so that we can close the broadcast quickly. The negotiations are almost done, almost complete. The sticking issues are not sticking issues. In fact, if they referred back the request to the head of state, it's probably something will occur and will be underway with this funeral probably next week or the other week, but whatever dates the family and the state will agree on that are convenient to the calendar of the president who wishes to superintend over this funeral, and also a notice to the region where we've received these high accolades. I've urged people to read Uhuru Kenyatta's letter, like Ambassador George Twa's letter and tribute to the late president. Uhuru Kenyatta also did an emotional one. He says, he was a friend of mine. And remember, he had a unique case because he himself as president, he had his vice president who was estranged from him. And the two, the vice president was campaigning for, William Ruto was campaigning for the office of the president. And there was a fractious relationship for almost 2 years. But President Lungu held good relations to both of them. And that letter that was penned by I've seen a mockery from Zim I, our brother who called from Zimbabwe, the one who did the so-called gold scandal. He runs an online publication in Zimbabwe called Zim I. So he has done a cartoon of Tarsila holding on to the casket of the late president and saying it will not go anywhere until you drop charges. Again, that's falsehood. And that's why we confronted where a newspaper ran that story. At no time did the family say, drop the charges. And I gave you insights that I personally participated in the talks when Obasanjo came. He was head of state in Nigeria and he was chairperson of the African Union. And this was 2004. And he came to resolve the impasse. First, he was a born again like Dr. Chiluba. And, Dr. Chiluba was the last president to see the transition from the Organization of African Unity to the African Union in 2001. There's a small plaque, many people do not pay attention, at Addis Ababa, next to what Stanchat has done. There's a plaque just here on your left. That is the one, that plaque that is there is so important to Africa because that's where all heads of state, they came and congregated and unveiled that to mark the transition of Zambia and to mark the transition of the African Union from its old OAU to the African Union. Even the design you see at the African Union was commemorated in Zambia. Yeah, so let's begin with the calls. They are just coming as missed calls. Persist. There's a huge queue, but let's see if you can contribute. So my brother, at no time did Tarsila or Mama, First Lady or Chiesu or Daliso or any other make that as demands. At no time were the demands of the PF. I'll come and speak to that. Hello, good evening. Please tell us your name and where you're calling us from. Very well. Make your contributions quickly so that we can hear to many people.
Yes, sorry, this is Uncle N.
Yes, Uncle N. Please make your contributions. Let's hear you. What are your views?
My views are terrible. I'm mourning and I can't speak.
Yeah.
Besides being president, we were students together. We are former students together at law school. So he's really my college mate. So there's a lot of history between me and him and several other Zambian leaders, because I had all my education, my university in Zambia. And at law school, we were together. Of course, he was junior, I was senior. Well, we have lost one of our illustrious leaders in the region. He was committed not only to provide leadership to the people of the Republic of Zambia, but to the rest of the region. He was one of us. He was a man who had foresight for the development and collaboration between SADC countries. We worked together very, very well. So it's a big loss to all of us in the leadership in our region. Besides being president, we were students together. We are former students together at law school. So he's really my college mate. So there's a lot of history between me and him and several other Zambian leaders, because I had all my education, my university in Zambia. And at law school, we were together. Of course, he was junior, I was senior. Well, we have lost one of our illustrious leaders in the region. He was committed not only to provide leadership to the people of the Republic of Zambia, but to the rest of the region. He was one of us. He was a man who had foresight for the development and collaboration between SADC countries. We worked.
Awe chitena chafina chaputula no musana mwevantu. Awe chitena chalemani lesa fya winga chitula. Shalema mwevale tamba, shalema mwevale rosha, shalema mwevale ufwa, shalema, shalema. Wela tata, wela welungu, wela tata, wela welungu. Kutusha benape mwele sa twalomba tutalalikeni timashesu twalila twalufye mpalume tata uwa mutebo uwa sansa kape kape ushisala mupokelele pokelele wele sawe pokelele pokelele shemu chibote welo tata welo 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 balila wewela ichalo chole abana bombe Muzambe yalila ichalo chalila abana balila abantu bose balila
Amitapendwa ya vintu visume vyoza kula kuivukisha kana depotimo wimbo wa temenu wa katongi abazunga batita katongi nakula kuivukisha kateka kaibukubuna kapona neseko syove pamenso yangwaba umebaya kiyaba baume yiyaba baume
kateka w'abantu twakulira lero twakulira shikakukonke emilimo shove
alefilamba vyenamita pengosile etikume kulondolola balelilo bwingi
Iseko wingi mwakwete, isaso wingi mwakwete, mwaya mwende wino tata wesu
katusi muchibo kege wali bomba kale lomba mwatuja tulelilake lumbangana chiba
penda upanga mwine oya mwine ine dalila
yangu ya mama alanacho mwabye mama
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for joining us. I've got very good news. I told you that the progress was made, and progress was made very well, and that the last contentious issue that was remaining was not necessarily insurmountable. And I'd like to break it on this forum that the family and the state have agreed on when to bring the remains of the late president and when he will be put to rest. And most of the issues have been agreed. It's been a give and take. The remains of the late president will arrive, I think, on Wednesday, 18th, and he will be put to rest. Let me just look at my dates properly. Let me just look at my date properly. But the late president remains will arrive next Wednesday, and he'll be buried the other Monday. I look at the dates and then I confirm with you. But that's the progress we've made so far. congratulations to all. I think this has been done in the interest of Mother Zambia. And we are glad that this tumultuous period of negotiation has come to an end. Now we have to arrange and prepare for the repatriation of the remains of the late president. On Wednesday, they arrive in Lusaka and the period of mourning begins. And the late president will be put to rest on Monday the other week.
Amitapendwa ya vintu ifisume vyote kula kuibukisha Kanate pochimo wimbo wa temenu wa katongi Awazunga watita katongi na kula kuibukisha kateka Kaibuku muna kapona neseko siove pamenso Yangwa umebaya Iyaba ume Iyaba ume
Kateka wabantu twakulira lelo twakulira shikakukonke milimo shove
Ale filamba yena minta pengosile Eti kume mokula ndolola vale lilo mwingi
Iseko wingi mwakwete Isaso wingi mwakwete Mwaya mwende wino tata wesu
Katushi muchi mwakege Wali bomba kale Nomba mwatuja tuleli laki
Thank you very much. I just have a second caller, and like I stated earlier, we have breaking news. In this evening's meeting, both the family and the state have agreed. The meeting, as earlier announced, there was an initial meeting, and there were just one or two contentious issues that remained outstanding. In their second meeting this evening, all issues have been resolved. So the late president's remains will be coming to Zambia on Wednesday, and they'll be interred the other Monday. So, caller, please tell us your name and where you are calling us from, and make your contribution.
I'll be anonymous. So I just want to say something. If the former president wanted to, his wish was to go to 2 provinces, I think that wish would have been granted, because that's the only wish he's getting. He's dead. So, yeah, I don't stand with the family on that. For me, if he was my father or uncle, I would stand with that wish, no matter how tense the country is. That's his last wish. I wish the family had the authority and just stand on that. Since he's gone, and just grant him something that his soul can rest in peace. Yeah, that's my contribution.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Amitapendwa ya vintu ifisume vyote kula kuibukisha Kanate pochimo wimbo wa temenu wa katongi Awazunga watita katongi na kula kuibukisha kateka Kaibuku muna kapona neseko siove pamenso Yangwa umebaya Iyaba ume Iyaba ume
Kateka wabantu twakulira lelo twakulira shikakukonke milimo shove
Ale filamba yena minta pengosile Eti kume mokula ndolola vale
Iseko wingi mwakwete, isaso wingi mwakwete, mwaya, mwaya, mwende wino tata wesu.
Katusi muchibo kege, wali bomba kale, lomba mwatu jatuleli lake. Mupanga chiba,
Benda, mupanga mwine, oya mwine, ine nalila, nalila, nalila.
yangu ya mama ala nacho mwabye mama
Thank you very much. We're just breaking with the news that in the initial meeting that was held today, most of the issues were resolved. That's why when I started the program, I reported that tremendous progress was made. The delegation from government was led by Mulambo Haimbe, the Minister of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation, and Secretary to Cabinet Patrick Chagwa. And remember, I'd said the family was gracious enough to also back down on the issue of special emissaries. They said, we respect the office of the president. Our father, held that office as president. So we respect his appointees of Honorable Enoch Kavindele and Leslie Mbula. And so they were part of the delegation. The former Vice President Enoch Kavindele and Leslie Mbula participated in this earlier discussion. There was also the person manning South Africa, the Zambia's High Commissioner to South Africa, the acting one, Honorable Inonge, Her Excellency Inonge Limbambala Mwenya. She was in that meeting. And there was literally agreement, give and take. This can be done, this can't be done. Can the family agree? Yes. This can be done, this can be done. And by the time they broke off 3 hours ago to come and resume the meeting, there was only one major outstanding issue. And this evening, I don't have the full details yet, but I've been alerted that all matters have been resolved, and the remains of the late president will arrive on Wednesday next week and will be interred on Monday the other week. I am privileged to host civil society activist Brebna Changala, who over the years was a very strong critic of President Edgar Lungu, but they became passionate friends and they would talk every day. And Brebna has been very consistent in our country. Many people are saying he's the only civil society leader remaining. Honorable Brebna Changala, welcome to today's program.
Good evening, Ambassador, and good evening to our viewers and listeners.
Thank you.
Yeah. our politics are. They are no longer about service. They are now about retribution. I have the instrument of power, so I can fix you. It's not about public service, not anymore. And this is the tragedy we need to reset.
Yeah, yeah.
And when Edgar Chagwa Lungu died, I'm not surprised that the family had to react in the manner they did. They were going to bring back the body to Zambia. To who? To the people of Zambia, yes. But the main state actors were the enemies of the late. How do you surrender the body to an enemy? You can say, no, they were not enemies, they were just political opponents. No, this went beyond politics. This touched on somebody's life.
Yeah.
And today, the same government officials who are supposed to be humble and remorseful, instead of facing this situation, they are now constantly issuing threats because they don't want anybody to give a contra opinion in the manner Israel was treated. They start talking about the rule of law. It's all about threats. Now, threats has a limit. There is a day when people start taking these threats as jokes. Because people are inherently born free. And they survive within the realms of the Bureau of Rights. It's true. Rights have responsibilities. So is leadership. Leadership is not open-ended. It has responsibilities. You run a state of diverse people, diverse interests, diverse nationalists, national interest, diverse economic parameters, social challenges, everything is in diversity. That's why you need a common leader to bring this interest in one line. But the way we are being governed is all about threats. And nobody wants to understand the voice of the aggrieved. But time is a healer. It is good that they have reached an agreement, and it is good that we have closure for now. But the people of Zambia must watch the way forward. How we progress from here, whether after we put our former president to rest, all will be well. And my appeal, after the body of Israel is put to rest, those who tormented him, please look for something to abuse. This is a man the judiciary has said you are not going to stand. Why are you bothered? Why are you bothered? Provide leadership. Let's move in one direction as one people. Don't allow politics to be the agenda for division. It must be politics as an agenda for national unity. I have never experienced these divisions in this country. Zambia, the politicians might pretend we are divided. Whether they like it or not, we are a divided nation. And that's why I will repeat as I end, Zambia needs a national indaba. We need a truth and reconciliation commission. There is too much divide and rule. Too much. Where somebody has stolen a political party and is always in the presidential entourage. Very provocative. And the president doesn't see anything wrong. Moving with the renegade, who the people don't even know how that guy got the party. The judiciary is mark timing, can't make a decision because the judiciary is also in somebody's pockets. We need to sit down and have an honest conversation.
Yeah.
Are we being governed properly? Or there is something that we don't know where we are heading to? There is too much dishonest. There is too much hypocrisy. And we are a divided nation. Whichever way you look at it. Somebody will say, how?
Yeah.
Look yourself in the mirror. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Changala, for sparing your time. This is in light of the agreement that has taken place in South Africa, where all matters relating that were outstanding, there's been a negotiated settlement, an issue of give and take. And as we stand here, matters that were outstanding have been resolved. The remains come on Wednesday, the 18th, and the late president will be put to rest on Monday, 23rd June 2025. And I hope that will accord him the due respect that is befitting his office as former president, and who was our head of state and our only surviving head of state for the last. He was president for 7 years and has been our last former president, because we lost President Rupia Banda and we lost Dr. Kenneth David Kaunda. So we are glad that, and we thank God that wisdom prevailed, that reason came forth, and there was a negotiated settlement from both parties. Earlier in the broadcast, we reviewed the letter from Laz, who appealed to the president, who appealed to the family to allow the president to superintend over this funeral and to accord him the honors that are due to him as former president. Laz also proposed a new law, because we don't have a law regulating state funerals. There's no law whatsoever. There are pieces of regulations, pieces of circulars, and the principal act regarding former presidents, the Former President's Benefits Act, only attends to the welfare of a living former head of state. So it doesn't provide for how they will be treated in the event that they've passed on. I think that was a remarkable issue. Let me address the last matter. People were saying the family is using this matter to resolve political issues. No, the family stayed away. In my entire time I've been broadcasting here, I've requested that the politicians should face President Hakainde Hichilema and tell him, Mr. President, on the issues of the rule of law, you're not allowing us to have political meetings. You are disturbing our public meetings. Look at the people you've put in jail. You've not allowed the due process of the law, that you have narrowed the democratic space in our country, that the independence of democratic institutions such as Parliament, the Judiciary, Electoral Commission of Zambia are under compromise, and these are our concerns. Those issues can be handled by the family. Unfair persecution, abuse of the law, the lawfare that we've witnessed, the abuse of the law and abuse of human rights can be handled by the family. The family has to preoccupy itself with the particular issues of the wishes of the late president. To us, the Patriotic Front, the wishes of the president, as you saw the president speak on my Conversation podcast, he says the reason he came to power, he returned to active politics, was that he wanted to reclaim the PF because it had been stolen from him by State House, by President Hakainde Hichilema. And he said, I want to fight for the PF to have its place. This would be an honor to the memories of President Michael Sata. Those are political things that have nothing to do with the family. that undertaking, that fight is a political fight. It's up to acting President Given Lubinda and his colleagues, Brian Munduwile and others, to take up that fight to honor the memories of the late president, who said, I want to leave a patriotic front as envisioned by President Michael Sat. So that is a fight that we wear as a patriotic front. It's not a fight that the family can wear. No, not at all. Sorry, callers, we had forgotten about you. Oh my God. I received a call from Honorable Brebna Changala, civil society activist, and he gave his remarks. He's called for unity, and he wants us to abandon hypocrisy and to use lessons from this entire period to make Zambia a better country. Sorry, my brother. Tell us your name and where you are calling us from.
Yes, I'm calling from Soresi. My name is Vincent.
Yes, Vincent. Please make your contributions.
Yes, I want to make my contribution. First of all, I want to tell all the politicians, all those that are listening, that Zambia is bigger than politicians. You people, you just participate in 5 million, less than 5 million. Those are the poll vote, and we make a decision for the rest of Zambians. So, even ECL was a president of Zambians, was not a president for Patriotic Front, was not a president for any other person. And we cannot measure Zambians to say these are the ones who loved ECL. Everyone.
Correct.
Now, let me now say something to you, Mr. Mukamba. I've been following you ever since, even during when the demise of the president sat, that time that you had wrangles with Edgar Lungu'S and the group. You know, Zambia is bigger than you people. What type of Zambia do you want to leave behind? Is it Zambia that is divided? Is it Zambia that is lawless? Is it Zambia that doesn't, tribes have already mingled. If there are politicians who think that this one is a Bemba, this one is this, they are no longer there. It's you politicians who want to ride in tribes. Otherwise, all Zambians this time are united. In funerals, you find all tribes, in everything. So if you politicians will be sticking to say, no, this is a tribe, he comes from northern, he hasn't been appointed, you'll be disappointed. Sir, the last thing I want to appeal to you, sir, come back. Come back wherever you are. Come back and stay in your country. This is your Zambia. If it's to defend, there are those courts. I know that you may not like HH.
My brother, that matter is very personal. I don't want... You don't like President H. That's a problem with party cadres. Let's not degenerate. I'm not here to defend myself. If you want us to discuss me and my presence here, we can schedule a program and I let you know why I am here, and we can catalog that. Today we are dealing with updates and we have had a breakthrough. Restrict yourself to that. But if you want to politic, like any praise singer, you unfortunately the platform will not be abused. Like I said to the Zimbabwean National, if you want to go out of a topic, give me a topic, we discuss it. I'm competent. I discuss all issues anytime. Okay, we must have a caller is... Good evening. Please tell us your name and where you are calling us from.
Mr. Mwamba, I'm calling you from Kaputa.
Yes, sir. Please introduce yourself and let's hear from you, sir.
I'm speaking to Gilbert Piri.
Gilbert Piri from Kaputa. Gilbert Chipili from Kaputa. Please make your contribution, my brother.
No, I wanted to find out from you, what we are actually mourning.
Yeah.
And we are not happy to let us call. It has been long since we started this morning, our lovely president, the former president of this country.
Yeah.
And we actually still remember what has happened to our district, what he did, and the contribution basically made.
Yes.
But I just want to find out from you, Ambassador Mwamba, just want to find out how many provinces are they going to actually go around
make sure that people also mourn the former president.
Okay. Okay, thank you very much. I think the detail of what the family and the state have agreed on will become apparent, I think, after the end of this broadcast, and by tomorrow there probably will be a formal statement issued by either leader of the delegation, Mlambo Haimbe, and the family, or secretary to cabinet, whoever will issue. There should be a formal statement like it is. They'll give us insights of what they've agreed. I don't want to lead you into speculation and to speak authoritatively over matters I was not available in the meeting. They will give us a formal statement, and let's see where this matter takes us. So tuafika mkusondwelela vane, I think it's 22 hours back in Zambia. Until we have another update, God bless you, God bless our country, and shalom, shalom. Let me leave you to this beautiful music that have been done by our artists. I'll play one or two.
Yaya mukula lotu we muchiri mushawa mashari ala wamina wengi na panshi patarara iwe wamina wengi na panshi patarara
Noma baby to binyichi Mwasala kusi aseo Chakalipa wakulekela we mwine ututule wefu wengi watusha ichichena chafinisha wakulekela we mwine ututule wefu tule wefu wakulekela we mwine ichichena chafina wena chakulisha tutule wakulekela we mwine
umumwakwenda na umfwila kasemo abati umopaliwe anakila kumushini umwejilinga wenkondo halume ya jabo aponye mfuti yawe aya wenda mutende wenda wayimikina tukesa umana
vengi maya ichichena chakalika wakulekela we mwine ututule wefu vengi watusha ichichena chafinisha wakulekela we mwine ututule wefu wakulekela we mwine ichichena chafina wena chakulisha tutule wakulekela we mwine Chakalipa wakulekela we mwine ututule wefu wengi watusha ichichena chafinisha wakulekela we mwine ututule wefu
mwapita kusiya Zambia lilikulila nachitamanta na imfa yanu ine ngati imfa iliyochoka kumwamba ambuye mulemekezeke koma ngati imfa yachoka kwa muntu kuchitandala kuti ndilire mukwiyo wanu chite naye naganizo wa Mulungu siyali yatu sitinaziwe zikala choncho kuti Edgar azafa choncho kulondola Sata anatisiya nachitamanta na imfa yanu ine pamaliro awa tisalete ndale anyandale munimvesese zoleta chiwawa ine ndalesa Mulungu kumwamba aziwa zonse muzimu wawo ugone bwino nachitamanta na imfa yawo ine landirani mzimu wa Chagwa landirani mzimu wanga uye kumwambako landirani mzimu wa Chagwa landirani mzimu wanga umemtende ifetafuka landirani mzimu wa Chagwa landirani ukume mtendele
Wechikolwe cha shelekoni we watampulo lutampulo waende cha mfuta numa wababa na bobe cha numa awe chitena cha fina cha putula no musana mwe bantu awe chitena chale mani lesa fya winga chitula chale mamwe wale tamba chale mamwe wale rosha chale mamwe wale ufwa chale ma wela tata wela welungu wela tata wela welungu wisotala likechalo wisotala likyabana wela wisola ye wela wetata wisotala likechalo wisotala likyabana wela wisola ye wela wetata alimubofi wenu mwelesa mpokeleleni mupeni ukutusha penape mwelesa twalomba tutalalikeni itima shesu twalila twalufye mpalume tata uwa mutego uwa sasa kape kape ushisala mupokeleleni welesa we pokeleleni shemu chikote balila wela ichalo chole na bombe Muzambe yalila ichalo chalila abana balila abantu bose balila
Kuyalelo tete baye Amita pendwa ya vintu ifisume vyoto bula kwibukisya Kana depotimo Wimbo wa temenu wa katongi Awazunga watita katongi Nagula kwibukisya kateka Kaibukubuna kapona Nenseko siove pamenso Yangu ama umemaya Kiyaba Kiyaba
Kukonke milimo shove
Ale filamba Fiena minta pengo sile Eti kume mo pulondolo la vale Lilo wengi
Iseko wengi mwakwete Isaso wengi mwakwete Mwaya mwende wino tata wesu
Katushi muchi motege Wali bomba kale Nomba mwatuja tuleli laki Upanga chiba
Penda Upanga mwine Oye mwine Ide nalila
Yangu ya mama Ala nacho mwabye Mama Ukula befyo watu dobwingi Ibisebo wapangini obwingi Ukuchinjo lusako kumoneko busaka Mama Utituwa na basiyani Chagwa katuse
Ichalo chatalala Ikumbiri afita Imiso wanashumfwa Ifilamba vyanukuta Abantu valepitana Abengi vale ipusha Ngama sanswaya
ngobo sansobu ubwafuma kwi elo nasumina abasuma tabakokola elo nashinenkisha abasuma tabakokola sotwasuke Yesu sotwasuke yawe abana balila abavyashi balila sambya twalila onse twalila sotwasuke sotwasuke tafirwapo enatafirwapo adetukumu nefiramba ebyo namwishiba mugwiririre Yesu mugwiririre Yesu mwekatilile Yesu adetukumu nefiramba
Tuponena chafina balwesu Yeti tukwanyishe twakabilo buchingo bobe Twakabilo kubana iwe Yesu Twakabile chikuku chobe Iwe Yesu Taufilwa Wamwine wa fianza ni wa Yesu
yangu museninda na ngurachilo oje bose tulive na kuyalelo tevyo baye amitapendwa ya vintu ifisume vyoto kula kwibukisha kanate pochimo wimbo watemenwa katongi abazunga batita katongi nakula kwibukisha kateka kaibukubuna kapona neseko shove pamenso yangu maume maya iyaba maume iyaba maume
kateka wabantu twakulira lelo twakulira shikakukonke milimo shove
ale filamba yena minta pengosile eti kume mopulo ndolola vale lilo mwingi
iseko wingi mwakwete isaso wingi mwakwete mwaya mwende wino tata wesu
katusi muchibotege wali bomba kale nomba mwatuja tulelilaki mpangana chiba
penda upanga mwine oye mwine ide dalila
yangu ya mama ala nacho mwabye mama ukula bevyo watito bwingi ibisebo wapangile obwingi ukuchinja olusako kumoneko busaka mama kutituwala basiyani